John Carlos, and I'm here with a look at the Thor the Dark World 1/6 scale Light Asgardian Armor version that I pre-ordered exclusively at Sideshow Collectibles. I gotta say right up front, the packaging for this is really cool looking. It's a little glossy kind of watermark, but you can see that it says Thor in a little gloss highlight there. Take this bottom section out. The figure starts with clenched fist hands, but he comes with an alternate pair of grip hands and relaxed palm hands. And he also comes with open palm hands. One thing that I like about all three of these sets of hands is that they have little vein details sculpted into the top of the hands, and I think they look pretty cool. Now obviously he's going to come with Mjolnir, and it looks great. And it's made of some kind of metal, so it definitely feels kind of heavy. You can feel the weight to it when you hold it, but all the detailing on the edges looks really cool, including the engraving on the top and the little strap on the bottom. He also comes with two little circular discs that go on the top where his cape connects. These are for if you want to take the cape off and attach the cloak. We'll go into the cloak more in a little bit, but he also comes with this little tool for prying out those discs, so that's helpful. And he comes with this base, which is pretty cool looking, and I'll show you how that assembles in a bit, along with the little arm that attaches to it. And then lastly, he comes with his little poncho, which is not something I was expecting this to come with. I thought the regular Thor the Dark World figure came with that, but this Light Asgardian Armor version did not come with it, and surprise surprise, it's in there with it, so that's a really cool bonus. Like previous Thors, this cape is packaged through a little slit in the back of the packaging that leads into this bag. Now my Avengers Thor had like a wonky cape where the packaging in the bag kind of messed up the intentional folds or the pleating in the cape, and I can't help but wonder if I'm going to have this problem here. You can see how this bleeds over this way, so hopefully when I take this out it doesn't look too bad. And as you can see, it does kind of bend over a bit more. Alright, since I have to take his head off anyway, for that plastic piece to come off, I figure I might as well snap these things off. So I've been trying to pull these snaps off, and the chest piece keeps kind of coming with it, and I don't want to pull or warp or bend the whole chest piece any more than I need to. So I've kind of given up on pulling these snaps out. And I don't really care about the cloak that much anyway, because he, you know, barely wears it in the movie. So here, I'm just going to put it on over his cape. And I don't really know if that's going to create a little extra bulk or not when you put his head on, but the head fits right on, and there you go. There's Thor wearing the cloak. And it looks fine. It actually, you don't really even need to take the cape off to make this work. The only thing is you will see his red cape underneath the cloak, but other than that, I think it looks just fine. Alright, can we just talk about this face sculpt? Because this is a damn good face sculpt. If you take a look at it, his eyes look great. I mean, right up close you can see that there's a great kind of lifelike paint to the eyeballs and just the overall glossiness. But the blue looks great, and look at his eyebrows. The sculpting on those eyebrows is awesome, including his forehead ridge. The sculpting and paint on his like mustache beard area is awesome, but what I really like is that mouth. That open mouth with the teeth and that little kind of piece of tongue behind the teeth just reads awesome. It doesn't read weird or bad. I think they did a great job with sculpting this open mouth. Another element that I really like is this sculpting on the hair. In particular, these little pieces that hang down. There's 4 attached pieces. These 2 you can tell are attached. You can really see where they connect. But the blending on this side, they look really good. I think they did a great job blending those pieces in. And just sculpting all that hair, including that little braid right there. There are a few braids in here. There's a braid on this side, braids in the back. I'm not happy about that seam going across, but other than that little seam, I think the hair on this is great. And that braid in the back looks really good too. And I love the way that it drapes onto the cape, all these little threads, and that they bleed over onto the front of the chest a bit, the way they hang. And now we'll take a look at his outfit. And if you've seen my other reviews, then you know that one of the things I value when Hot Toys does this correctly is a mixture of different textures and cloths on a figure. And they did that absolutely very, very well with this figure. We'll start off with the boots. I love that there's a separation here between the boot and the base, so you can actually get good range of motion because these aren't connected. Not only does that look good, but it helps you pose the figure in really great ways. And the detailing on the boots, even just like these straps on the back, are very well done, including on the back here. You can see these little metal rivets where it snaps around. I think that looks awesome. Leathery pants look cool, and then the little side metal grid section, but even this little strap that's its own piece, it's not sculpted on, that strap looks rad. Mixed with the blue material, mixed with like the rubbery over material, and then the different use of colors on his chest. One of the things I like about this costume in general is the subtle use of blue mixed in there, but all the little details in the little rivets, little painted dots, the sculpting on these little discs, the overall paint and the sculpt on this is just great. I really dig it. One little nitpick is just out of the box that this is not even. I wish it was kind of even. One thing you'll notice is that the cloth kind of bleeds out here, but that's actually by design. If you flip up his little crotch flap, you'll see that this piece does actually go all the way up. Like, it's designed to be asymmetrical as far as that cloth goes, but the way it lines up down here isn't even, and that kind of bums me out. But I do like the way the blue hangs out on both sides. One bummer though is the cape. You can see these folds here and how they're supposed to follow through, but as you get further down we start to lose that fold. That pressing, that ironing, whatever you want to call it, becomes a little lost as it gets further down, and that's kind of a bummer for me, especially right there. This side turned out a little bit better. Not the end of the world, you don't really see it if you're facing the figure forward, but I just wish that could have been avoided. But one cool thing about the cape, I don't know how well you can see it in this lighting, but it's not a solid red. There are darker tones that go across here and darker tones that go across here. You can see a little darkness going across right there. I really like the fact that there is kind of a dirtiness or kind of a dark fade to the cape. I think that's really, really cool. Another thing that's really cool that we gotta mention is the arms. Unlike the Avengers figure, where this was a single piece that connected and you could barely had any range of motion, we now have a separate arm joint. And we have no visible elbow joint. The elbow joint is underneath. You could feel a little like ratchety system going on underneath this rubbery skin-like material. So I'll even show you guys, if you take his arm off and take this little section off, you can see just how much of this fake skin arm is there. You know, I review Hot Toys, but I'm no expert, so I don't know what this material's made of. I just call it fake rubbery skin stuff. But I like they sculpted the vein in. You might be losing it in this light, but there is light freckle painting going all along the arm. But it does look really cool. It's a cool effect. You can't bring it too far up without, you know, potentially ruining it later. But it's got decent range of motion. It doesn't go as high as I'd like, but it does go higher than the Avengers one. So I do like that there is a ball joint in the arm there. Joints on this figure as a whole are pretty good. In particular, I'm really liking what they did with the legs. I've played the articulation, and the leg articulation has great ranges of motion, but also really good stability. Nothing's really loose. And I gotta mention how great those kneecaps are. I like, again, more cloth mixed in. The body and articulation on this is pretty damn good. Not the biggest range of motion on the head though, what with that hair, but still, you do kind of get like a little intimidating head up, head down things going. Now be sure you screw this arm really tight into the base, because if you start bending it really low to the base, and you put all that weight on there and it's not tight enough, you're going to damage something. Now you just attach the C-clamp to the top of the base, and put this little cap on over the screw. That way you don't see that unsightly screw. And more importantly, it keeps the C-clamp in place. It's spring-loaded, you just open it up, and it does fit Thor's waist just perfectly. And there you go. And what's great about the C-clamp is that Thor's outfit is not made of, like, you know, terrible cloth the way Superman's is. You know, terrible as in rippable, not terrible as in bad. So I like that this clamp will not damage his outfit because it's made of like a harder rubbery material. I'm going to take back one of my notes about his head turning. He does have a good range of motion from left to right. His hair does not get caught on any of those cape shoulder elements. Now, I dig this figure a lot. One of the reasons for that is that my introduction to Thor in the comics, at least from a design standpoint, was with his bare arms exposed. It's a look that I always preferred. I think he looks more badass in the movies and in the comics with his bare arms exposed instead of that metal armor over his arms. And I can't be the only one out there who thinks that way. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are glad that Hot Toys made this version of this figure. I also really like this version of his outfit. Thor the Dark World is my favorite version. I mean, the Thor 1 costume to Avengers had very kind of subtle little differences, but they were essentially very similar outfits. This one's drastically different, with cape connection in a different place. There's a use of gold, different use of blue, the crotch flap, and all these differences I think are way cooler. So I'm really stoked that Hot Toys made a Thor the Dark World Hot Toys figure. And this base is really cool too. Overall, I think this figure turned out rad. One of the big surprises for me was the blue poncho, which was something I was not expecting to get. And I don't know if that's considered a slap in the face to the people who ordered the regular Thor figure because they wanted that poncho. I don't really know. You can let me know in the comments if you ordered the regular one and you're pissed off that this one came with the poncho regardless. But overall, man, I think this thing looks great in like a flying pose. I think the sculpt of the head is awesome. It's got good articulation, and the detail in his outfit is just rad. I dig this a lot. Thanks for watching.